So I welcome all the audience. Here we are introducing the guest speaker for today. Today we have Ms. Anjali Parkhi. Uh, she is
Hello.
co-founder and director at WinPoint Learning Center. She has 21 years of experience in software development projects and training. She has leadership experience in Java, J2EE based software product application development projects for global markets. And currently, she is working at WinPoint Digitization based on advanced technologies such as Spring Boot RESTful API with JPA and Hibernate. So, we welcome Anjali Parkhe Madam, and we would like to offer a virtual bouquet to Madam.
Thank you so much.
We have our second speaker. We have Mr. Makaranda Parkhi. He is co-founder and CEO of WinPoint Learning Center. He has 29 years of experience in business management, and he has leadership experience in account management, pre-sales, and solutioning of global markets. So we welcome you, Makarand sir. So please accept a virtual bouquet from VIT.
Thanks a lot, ma'am.
Now I'll request you to please start the session. So I'll give you the rights.
Sure.
Please see if you can share your presentation.
Right.
Yeah.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir. We can see.
And am I audible?
Yes, sir. Perfect.
Okay, thank you. Hello and welcome to WinPoint's webinar on Secret of Advancing Through Coding Round of Hiring Process. It's a pleasure to interact with all of you today. To kick off this session, I would like to use a very short video. So let's go through this video first. So this is a very interesting and powerful video. And if you have captured the message coming out of this video, if you analyze it, I think the message that all of us are getting is just like the sapling, which has got all the resources available to support its growth, right? So the sapling is growing in the soil. There would be someone, who would be watering that sapling. There would be sunlight, which would be available to support the growth of the sapling. So these are all resources which are available for sapling to grow. But at the same time, sapling has to take its own responsibility for its own growth. So it cannot shy away from taking that ownership for its growth. So same holds good in the lives of all of us. So while the entire ecosystem is available for us to take support from, so there are different resources, right? So if we take example of our own lives, there are different resources such as colleges, training centers, corporates, different websites on the internet, mentors, subject matter experts, books. So all these resources are available for you to make use of. But ultimately, it is going to be your own journey, and you have to take ownership. You have to take complete responsibility for your own growth. So later on, I'm going to quickly talk about AMCAT. So as you know, they do analysis of your personality as well, and they use Big Five model, Ocean, and there is an important C which is part of that Ocean, and that C is conscientiousness, right? So conscientiousness is about will to achieve, right? So you need to have strong achievement orientation. You need to show that grit, determination. You need to take complete responsibility for your own growth. And, there has to be a single-minded pursuit to execute the action plan, which is required for you to achieve your goals. So this video actually delivers all those important messages for us. All right, let me quickly walk you through the agenda that we have designed for today's webinar. So, in a short while, Anjali will walk you through the key components of AMCAT employability assessment test, automata and automata fix. So she'll quickly introduce these two components. And then we will come to an important part of this webinar. So you might be making a few mistakes as a beginner programmer, right? And there is nothing to feel bad about them. So the idea is not to make you feel bad, but all of us, while going through the initial stage of our career as a programmer, I think we have all made those mistakes. So the whole idea is to make you aware of those mistakes and help you spot the signs of those mistakes. And then, whatever you can do to avoid them, I think this particular module will actually help you learn all those things. Uh, as you might be aware that professional programming is all about good coding habits, right? So you must be aware of some good practices. I would not necessarily call them best practices, because all these practices are going to continuously evolve. Whatever practices are supposed to be good today, maybe tomorrow they might be outdated, and some new practices will evolve. So all these good practices you must be aware of, which you should use for attempting automata and automata fix modules of AMCAT. So once you understand those practices, then Anjali is going to actually conduct a workshop. So that will happen in the second part of this webinar, and she would encourage you to solve some sample code development for automata and automata fix. And then towards the end of the session, we will be happy to take your questions. So feel free to put in your questions in the chat box, and maybe later on towards the end, you can actually unmute yourself and ask those questions, and both of us will be happy to take them. Sounds good? All right, so quick introduction about AMCAT. I think most of you must have already gone through this test. So it's an AI-based computer adaptive employability skills test, which evaluates job applicants on different areas. So why it is adaptive? Because the next question in any section of the test will depend on your response, to the previous question. So there are some important modules which are part of this section, and most of you must have already experienced that. So communication skills, logical reasoning, quantitative skills, personality traits, and job specific domain skills. So let me elaborate on job specific domain skills. So for example, if some of you are targeting job profiles and roles in IT sector, then there is an important area called computer science, right? And as far as I know, this area, this module is divided into different sections, like operating system and computer architecture, computer networks, and database management systems. So you must have faced questions from these three areas. So all these modules are actually divided into different sections. So take an example of communication skills, right? So that is mainly about English comprehension, which is divided into different sections such as vocab, grammar, and comprehension. Logical reasoning is divided into three different types of logical abilities: inductive, abductive, and deductive. Similarly, quantitative skills are divided into three parts: basic, intermediate, and advanced, or basic, advanced, and applied, as they call it. Under job specific domain skills, the more important area is your coding abilities, right? And your coding skills, which is going to be the focus of this particular webinar. And Anjali will talk more about those areas, but they become key ingredients of AMCAT as far as jobs in IT sector are concerned. And of course, they do personality traits also. So sometime back, I mentioned about Big Five model called Ocean. So let me quickly tell you what Ocean is all about. So O is openness to experience. C, as I have already explained, is conscientiousness. E is extraversion. A is agreeableness. And N is neuroticity, which is about emotional stability. So they will help you understand your own personality type, right? So they will make an analysis of your personality, and that should provide you a lot of insights into your behavioral aspects. So a lot of companies have started giving a lot more importance to not only technology skills, but also soft skills and behavioral skills. The next point is about industry and job profile role fit, right? So which is again an important area from MCAT report. And you need to you need to be very clear about the industry that you want to target. So let's take an example of an IT industry, right, which I suppose will be the focus of this webinar. Most of you would be aspiring to get into IT. And so IT is not just about software engineering. So there would be different roles or different job profiles available for you to be part of IT industry. So for example, engineering or development is divided into two parts. So you can be part of IT services companies, or you can be part of IT product companies. So these are the two main profiles if you want to work in software engineering or software development. The second is technical operations. So you could target sectors like ITES or BPO, IT enabled services, or BPO. And there are again two different profiles that you have. So ITS and BPO is one profile, and second one is related to operations, right? So operations for hardware and infrastructure, that is a second profile that you can target. The third area is non-technical skills. So IT would be recruiting, for non-technical roles as well. So the examples which I can quote are a creative content developer or business analyst. So they would be looking at engineering graduates for these non-technical roles also. So it is important to identify the skills which are expected for each of these roles, right? And your MCAT report, if you analyze it thoroughly, I think it gives you fairly good idea about the key skills which are expected to be developed, the modules that you need to concentrate on, depending on the profile of your interest. And within each module, it will also highlight very clearly your strengths and weaknesses for different sections. So they will give you comprehensive feedback report, and they will also give you tips to improve your employability. And that section is divided into two parts. So they will give you some specific references. And apart from that, they will also try and put together some time schedule. So whatever total time you have at your disposal, they will divide that time into different modules depending on your performance, depending on the strengths and weaknesses that have come out after you have taken the test. The next slide is about the action plan, and it's an interesting quadrant. So as you can see, it's a 2x2 matrix, employability and interest. So the first quadrant is fairly simple. Your score is high on employability, and your interest is also high, right? So that means you have done well in these modules, and you need to prepare for interviews for these profiles. Okay, so your performance is very good. You also have a strong desire to perform these roles, maybe at the start of your career, and then you can start preparing for those interviews. The second quadrant, so the first row and the second column, your employability is high, but your interest is medium low. So you might not be aware of some of these alternative options that you have an option. I mean that you have that you can get into, and you can actually reevaluate your interest based on these strengths which have come out. Okay, so you can explore the job profiles more and make a conscious decision whether you want to make a career into these roles. The third quadrant, the first column and the second row, so that is about high interest and medium or low employability. For example, if you are targeting a role of software developer or software engineer, but unfortunately your scores are not reflecting, then you need to clearly identify where you are lacking, right? And one of the sections in the AMCAT report will help you understand the key skills required for that particular job profile. For example, if you're targeting a role of a product developer, software product developer, or software engineer in a product company, then you need to be very, very strong in programming, right? Coding, which is going to be the focus of this webinar. So you need to strengthen your skills, maybe with the help of the resources available or by going through some training interventions, and you can actually bring yourself up to that level where when your employability will improve for these roles. And the last one we don't need to worry about. So that is low priority at this stage. You do not have interest and your employability score is also medium or low. So with that context setting and with that introduction, I would be happy to invite Anjali to take you through Automata and Automata Fix slides. Thank you.
I would first of all like to thank Swati ma'am, and I would really appreciate her initiative of, conducting this webinar. And I thank her for giving us an opportunity to share our experiences with such interesting students. So my whole motive here is, see, I have worked in the industry as well for about 12 years, or total experience is 21 years, and also in the training. So I had a few freshers or few experienced peoples also on the board who were deployed directly on the project, and there I had seen many challenges which the candidates were facing, and also the people from management side, or actually myself, who faced really some basic issues in getting them aligned to the project. So I have seen all these challenges very closely. So I've based on those experiences, now we are conducting the courses, and we are trying to deliver the best that we can. So I would definitely try here as well to give you few ideas about how to crack Automata or Automata Fix. Our focus for today's webinar will be based on will be totally on Automata and Automata Fix, but I can tell you whatever discussions we are going to do here will be useful in cracking any coding round. Let it be now basically Automata or this AMCAT actually is based used by IT service industry. But if you are trying for some niche company test or something of that sort, then still there the coding round that you have to crack will need these best practices to be used during the evaluation. So let's get started with the Automata first. So Automata, as I think all of you must have appeared for this AMCAT test, which has Automata as the compulsory test, and then they have different products like Automata Pro, Automata SQL, Automata for data scientists, Automata Fix. So basically the students of your age, or the final year students, basically they generally prefer Automata and Automata Fix. So that is the product that we have shortlisted for today's webinar. So what is the why this AMCAT test is so important? Because basically if imagine if AMCAT was not there, then the people from the industry, they have to come to the campus, they will have to test so many students, so many evaluations they have to do, and then from there they will pick up the candidates. And so all these efforts are now solved, and AMCAT conducts this test, MCQ test and coding round test and all, and it gives exhaustive report of that candidate, which is beneficial for the organizations to shortlist the candidates, and for candidates it becomes very easy for demonstrating their skills on some common platform. And AMCAT is not picking up the candidates, the organizations are worldwide, so you will get the opportunity worldwide. So this automata test basically evaluates the programming skills of the candidates. For that, as per point number 4, programming, point number 3, you have to program it in the editor given by the evaluation environment itself. You have to write the program, compile it, run the test cases in the assessment environment itself. Okay, so you don't have to download, or you don't have to be ready with any software. It is very simple. You can take this test on campus of college, or maybe during some events which they will organize. Then what basically you need to know for this automata? So you need to be proficient in writing the algorithms. You should know different data structures, the recursion mechanism, memory allocation. Now basically this automata will cover your basic programming elements like if-else statement, then loops, different loops, different basic data structures like arrays, or your knowledge in structures and all. So basically first it will see the programming knowledge, the basic programming knowledge of the candidate, and then eventually as Makran has already said, it is an adaptive test, so then it will grow further. Okay, and then the programming problems are with smartly designed corner and generic test cases. So the test cases are very tricky. That point we will cover in detail later, but you, in short, you have to write a code in such a way that all these boundary test cases and generic test cases should be satisfied. And as you already know, you have the freedom to choose the programming language like Java, C, C++, okay, anything. Then on what basis this evaluation is done? The first slide was for what testing it's done, what evaluation, what it looks for, what all skills this test looks for. But how that evaluation is done is based on these parameters. This is very important for you. So as I have already said, it will check if the code runs for basic, advanced and boundary test cases. Okay, then only the execution of the code, compilation of the code, or getting the output is not sufficient. The quality of the code is very, very important when you want to work in the organization. Okay, this point also we are going to cover in detail. Then it tests the time complexity and space complexity of the code, that is efficiency of the code. Okay, then what all warnings you get at runtime, or some timeout errors are generated during compilation. So that will be one of the factors during the evaluation. And how much time do you take to submit your final code? So what is your efficiency? Means, see, the third point checks the efficiency of your code, and the last point in this list checks the efficiency of the programmer. So how fast you can deliver the problem statement which you are given. Because why this point is also very important, because when you are deployed on any project, remember, your every second is billable to the company. So they will try to extract as much as possible from the programmer. So that's why efficiency of the programmer also will be tested. So in short, competency is measured with automata evaluation is programming ability, functional correctness, and programming practices. Okay, based on these three, your evaluation will be done for automata. Now, just for our reference, I have taken a few sample reports of our student, one of our student. He in this report detail, first point is what total number of problems and what was the total time that was allocated for this automata test. So 2 problem statements were there and 75 minutes were allocated. And below that, in the scores table, you will see programming ability score and programming practices score. So now you can relate to these two scores, I think, because we had discussed these things, what is practices and what is programming ability. Okay, so programming ability is this score measures the ability to write the correct, thorough and efficient code for a problem. And so it should pass all test conditions and all. Okay, the time complexity will come under this criteria of programming ability. And programming practices, this score measures the use of best practices in programming programs, industry, readability, security, etc. So this point we are going to cover in detail, because we generally, the students, they focus only on the correctness of the program, but this programming practices skill side of a programmer is generally ignored part. So that we will discuss in detail. So here also, if you see, this is a very bright student actually. So if you see, programming ability score is 5 out of 5, but programming practices is 2 out of 4. So we should try to get 4 out of 4 there as well. And it is possible if you follow the template that I will be sharing with you. So if we follow that, then it is really achievable score. Okay, so this was the problem 1 that was given. So programming abilities 5 out of 5 for this problem 1, and practices is 2 out of 4. So language used was C++. So this is an exhaustive course scorecard that is given. Okay, so as I had mentioned, time complexity is also detected here. So basic, advanced, age. So all these test cases are checked, which we discussed earlier. Okay, there will be some general test cases and some corner test cases. So this age is from those corner test cases. And then execution statistics also will be given here. Okay, how much time was taken to submit this test, number of compile, to what level it is giving us the detailed report, how many times you compiled it, then how many times it was a successful compilation, then timeout error, was there any timeout error, or so all the statistics of whatever you did during that assessment will be captured and will appear in the report. Okay, so this was first problem. Now here, on purpose, I have taken another problem also, 4 out of 5. So the test cases, if you see, passed were 9 out of 14. So so that's why this person scored 4 out of 5 in programming ability skills, and again 2 out of 4 in programming practices score. So rest all parameters we have already seen. This is just a sample report. Just you might have seen this report for yourself, but why I have displayed it here again, if there are some new people, it will be beneficial for them. And the people whoever have already given this test, they will understand the importance of all the points which we will be discussing later in the presentation. Okay, so this is the sample report for automata. Now this is another part, automata fix. Okay, so here basically your debugging skills are checked. See, whenever you are deployed on any project, it's not that from day one you will be given development work. Now that project might have gone live. Means what I mean to say here is client is already using that project. Okay, so while using, he might come up with some bugs or some unwanted execution, or which is not actually desired. So there are again 2 points, 2 sides to it, which was agreed, which was not agreed. Let us not go into those details. Okay, but for our discussion, we'll stick to the point that some issues are raised. Okay, actually handling of these issues will be done by maintenance team, not by developers team. So we never know where our fitment will be mapped, okay, with this test. So that's why this debugging skill is important. Debugging skill is important for the developer as well as for the person who will be working in the maintenance team. Because for maintenance people, they don't have to have the ability, you know, to learn new things very fast, or to do research in new areas, or to, you know, have some technical architect skills, something like that. So those skills are not needed for a person working in the maintenance team. But since that project has gone live, client is already using that project, and if some crucial error occurs, then at that point in time, it is our responsibility to give the quick solution to the client. Otherwise, maybe that issue might be the showstopper. We never know, isn't it? So in that case, debugging skills play a vital role. You should be able to pinpoint the area which is causing the problem, which is because of which that issue is coming up, and we need to give the quick solution for that. So automata fix is capturing the debugging skills of the students. Here again, you are given the choice for the programming languages: Java, C, C++. Then in automata, you are supposed to write the whole code. Only the problem statement will be given, and you have to, you are having the complete freedom for logic development, and you can write the code the way you want. Okay, but in automata fix, you are given 90% of the code, and you have to just write few lines of code, which won't change the flow of the execution actually. So that care you have to take. Then code should be correct syntactically and logically, of course, and code should pass all the test conditions. That is also the requirement, as in automata we have already discussed. So I think you must have understood the importance of automata and automata fix. So obviously competencies measured in automata fix are uh, how you handle logical errors, syntactical errors, and the code reuse. So these are the 3 parameters on which your competencies will be measured in automata fix. Okay. So I think why I am explaining all these things to you, because then accordingly your approach to a problem statement will change, right? So in automata, you will focus mainly on your logic and your programming skills using best practices and all. And in automata fix, you will focus more on your debugging skills, because now you know the difference between the 2 tests and the importance of the 2 tests from the organization point of view. Okay, so again for this also I have taken one 2-3 slides will be there for the sample report for at automata fix. Okay, so this is the automata fix feedback. You will see the score for syntactical error, logical error, and code reuse. So syntactical error, this person has scored 0 out of 100. For logical, 75 out of 100. For code reuse, he has scored 50 out of 100. Okay, so and also it gives you the suggestion the candidate is expected to make use of existing functions to implement complete and incomplete functionality. Then candidate is expected to fix logical inconsistencies in the provided code. So what these mean, that guidance is also given in the report. Okay, so these were some problem statements. This was from logical error type. And in this code, since this null was not assigned to this next uh, attribute of the structure, that's why during the traversal, if you see here, we check for the null, current dot next not equal to null. But if this null was not assigned to the newly created node, then this loop will never come out, and it will go into the endless execution. And so that's why this was the logical error. So this is one example. Okay, then this is again correct code reuse type of question. Okay, so here find minimum element. So this function is given, you don't have to write. Remember, in automata fix, you are not expected to write the main function that is already there. Okay, so whatever be careful, whatever is asked to write to you, only you have to write that part of the code. Okay, so here find minimum element is the code that was supposed to be written, so that this person has written, and test cases passed is 100%. Okay, so this answer is correct, and he used Java as the programming language for this. Okay, and so the next is, this was wrong. Okay, so the correct answer was not found out, and so it was syntactical error correction. So language used is C++. And so if you see in syntactical error, this person secured 0 out of 100. And for logical, I think 75 out of 100. And for code reuse, he secured 50 out of 100. Okay. So this was about the sample report of automata fix. We will be discussing these in detail again. Okay. So now we have understood the purpose of these tests, what these tests are meant for, what is the motive behind every test, automata and automata fix. Now let us see how to, what all errors are made as a beginner programmer. Okay, so now I will play one small video, and after looking at that video, just let me know what is your takeaway from that video. Okay. Yes. So what is your understanding from this video? Maybe you can unmute yourself and tell me.
So ma'am, what we understood from this video is that to achieve any problem, to achieve any goal in any kind of process, we need to know about the process and we need to know the hurdles that would come in the process,
Okay.
so that we can properly achieve our goal, and the things we decided to achieve, that can be happened.
So the thing is, see, the problem is in the first part, if you would have gone through that line carefully, if you don't know where you want to go, then you will end up some else place, right? You will reach to some different place. And in the video also, in the first half part, if you observe carefully, that was a all mess that was created, but in the second part everything was falling in line. What was the main reason for that? Planning. Okay, so if I'm constructing a building, I constructed the balcony, but I constructed after constructing the balcony I came to know, no, there was no door only at this point at this place. So what is the use of that balcony? So that was the clear cut example of lack of planning, right? So the first mistake, the very first mistake that the beginners they do is writing code without planning. What I have seen with I would say 99% of the students which I have trained so far, okay, they initially, whenever you give them the problem statement, before they complete reading of the problem statement also, they will start writing the code. I don't understand what they are going to write now, isn't it? First you need to go through the problem statement very carefully. You need to identify the important points in that. You need to underline them. You need to extract the entities which are there in that problem statement, which are playing the important role. Like sometimes problem statement will be given in the form of story also. Okay, you are not interested in story at that point in time, isn't it? You are interested in crux of that problem statement. So what you have to do is you can convert that problem into some technical language, some mathematical problem statement, and then you can approach it. And then first thing is you have to plan out. Okay, generally I tell student to use 70-20-10 as the planning criteria, like the development of the problem statement criteria, out of which 70% of time will be for planning, 20% will be for coding, and 10% will be for testing. But this may vary from person to person. You can go ahead with 60 30 and 10 also as the time distribution. But remember always that most of your time should go into the planning, because see, there is no way for rework, there is no time for rework in such competitive exams, right? So in the first place only you should go right, and that can happen only if you plan your code. Okay, so you have to write a different you have to use different techniques like writing flowchart or writing pseudocode and everything, and then you have to run through different test cases on that. And then once you are satisfied with that, then only you can start coding. Okay, so planning is very very important. Otherwise, see, in that construction again, that balcony construction, that example if we take, then it's impossible to destroy the building and again reconstruct the building and constructing the balcony. So that's why planning is very important in your complete development phase of the code. Okay, so analyze the problem statement, explore it, plan it, write the code, endorse by yourself, okay, and revise it, run through different test cases, and then you can actually transfer it to the code. So what can you understand from this? Always code as if the guy who ends up maintaining your code will be a violent psychopath who knows where you live. I really like this quote by John Woods. Okay, so it's actually a best fit for any person from the maintaining team or the person who will be writing the code. So what care we need to take? So basically, see, when we are working in the industry, when we are working on the project, we should always keep one thing in mind, that whatever code I'm going to write, that will be with me only for this day. After this is not going to be my property. This is going to get published in the public domain. Okay, so all the people across the globe who are working on that project are going to use my code. So they should understand my code very clearly. So my code should be readable, and that's why that industry practice is very important. So your code will be tested against this industry practice. So what does this statement means is, the scenario which we discussed, that there are some issues raised and maintenance team has to maintain your code, so they will have to go through the code. Suppose those people have excellent debugging skills, but if that code is not up to that level, then again it becomes a headache for the maintaining team. And that's why it is written that you always keep in mind that he is a violent psychopath and who knows where you live, so he will come to you and look at you. So the bottom line is, you have to write the code very clearly, and it should be a readable code. Okay, so underestimating the importance of code quality is the second mistake, which affects the quality of the whole project also. Make a right choice. So what does this picture say? Means this is basically related to different data structures. So data structures are nothing but the containers for your data. So can we say from this that this is the best container? No, all the containers are good, but they are best for that particular purpose. Okay, so that one thing you should always keep in mind, ki there is no such data structure that is best. Okay, that in any scenario you should go ahead with this data structure. Like if you consider this, the first container, it can hold that curd also, but imagine the space complexity, right? So considering time complexity, space complexity, you have to make a right choice of the data structure. So not using the right data structures is the mistake number 3 that many people do. Okay, then now see, I'll be showing you 2 pictures. One is this Macy library. Okay, now imagine this is the condition of my code. Okay, my code is not at all organized. Okay, so organization of the code is very important. You should have proper directory structure for your code. All utility files will go in the util folder. All the front end files will go into the front end folder. So there has to be some proper organization of the code, so that whatever file I would need, that I can find quickly. Okay, but now if this is the condition of my code, and if I want to place one more file in there, what is my normal tendency? अरे ये तो पहले ही में से कहीं पर भी रख दो, isn't it? That is the mentality that we carry, every one of us. So what we will do is we'll make it more messy, right? So, but instead of that, if we have organized it properly, then if I want to put some file in the folder, I will actually find the folder. I won't dare to place it anywhere. Okay, so making existing code worse is the another problem that the beginners they do have. They don't understand the importance of the directory structure. So that's why this quality or is very important to keep your code organized. And this is the mistake number 4 that we generally do. Now, this is something would be needed in your automata fix. Okay. So nothing is interesting if you are not interested, like, right? And if you see here, there are many balls of rough paper. Okay. But that bulb is there. Means what? See, all of them are errors actually. Okay. And we generally tend to ignore the errors, right? But actually speaking, errors are putting a light on your bad execution of the code. Okay, so errors play very, very important part in the development of the code. They give you the guidance ki are yahan par code is going wrong. Okay, because you know what, when it is a client demo for the first time of your project, and if something goes wrong, it's really very embarrassing. So actually errors are our helpers, but we our attitude towards errors is very wrong. Okay, so having the wrong attitude about errors is not correct. So that is the mistake 5. We generally get disturbed when we see the error, but actually we should be happy. Arey, acha hua, I could see this error at this point in time, rather than realizing it after submission of the code. Okay, then are you too busy to improve? Okay, so no thanks, we are too busy. Okay, so can you get something out of it? These are very actually self-explanatory picture. Both of them are self-explanatory. So this is again one picture that I have put here. This is a complete table, and this person is looking for bugs. So actually this is taking us to the test plan. Okay, so that's what is tested in your evaluation for this MCAT. Like now here, whatever front end is developed, so we will test it across all the browsers with the category A, B, C, D, E, F, and then we have developed one table for support, traffic, conversion, and all those. So different parameters. This is just one example. Okay. So what happens is this test plan should be very handy for all the developers, so that sometimes I will tell you, now this person has found these 3 bugs. I will make some code changes related to these 3 bugs. But while making changes, I might create a bug which was working already. So the best practice is whenever I make changes to the code, the existing code, I should again go by this test plan. I should test for all the conditions and make sure that whatever changes I have made is not affecting my currently running code also, because there is always interrelationship between the codes. Don't forget that. So that test plan should be very handy. Otherwise, in the tests, many a times people say, students come to me and say, "Arey ma'am, mera ye first condition was working fine, but then I made changes for this particular test case, and then that went wrong, that failed." So it happens many a times. So you have to be extremely careful with this. And this test plan actually is your helper here. So not writing test plans is the next mistake. Okay. And see, this is very important, because whatever development we are doing is for some end user. isn't it? So we should take care of the customer, right? So what experience that person should get. Now many a times what happens is the students, now suppose for example I have written one small code which accepts the data from the user for a student. Okay, now see, this is very simple scenario. I have accepted the first name, last name, the roll number, etc, etc, the marks, and then I ask the person to enter username and password. Okay, now in this particular case, username is entered correctly, and while entering password, that person made mistake. It didn't went through the validating rules of that password. Okay, that password should be of 6 characters, or at least one capital letter should be there, some special characters must be there, so on and so forth. So I had put some validation rule there, and that whatever password this person entered for while creating his login went wrong. Okay, now many students, I had given this as an assignment actually here for my students. So many of them, what they did is they through the exception, they came out of that function, and do you want to enter the data, and then they again made the user to enter all the details just because that password went wrong. This is very wrong way, isn't it? When everything else was correct, 99% of the data was correct, and only password went wrong, means I need to ask user only to enter the password, not the whole data again. So that is the example of taking care of the customer. So not targeting the end user experience. This is very, very important parameter. And it's not that it is considered only in the commercial projects, but in the tests also it will be seen. So this was the example from my test only. Okay, so for a programmer only. So for internship, I used to conduct some tests. So just to check the knowledge of the person. So that time I had given this question. So many of them failed in that. So be aware that you are writing the code not for yourself, but for somebody else. Okay, that care we need to take. So these are all mistakes basically which we need to take care of. These are the primary mistakes. So one I had not mentioned here, but in the slide, but during the discussion, I mentioned that our code should be organized. Okay. So now this is the standard template for good coding habits. Okay. So this is actually the summary of all the slides which we have come across. Okay. Till now. So first is understand the problem and prepare a list of the important points to be considered, extract out the entities from the problem statement, make it shorten actually. Okay, then decide the flow of the solution, what solution you want, because see, by looking at the problem, you will suddenly come up with some solution, but don't rely on the first solution that comes to your mind. Okay, try to optimize it. Is there any other optimized solution which will reduce the type complexity? So that also you have to check, and then decide the flow, how your code will be written. Then quick flowchart or pseudocode, whichever you are comfortable with, anything will do. But you have to do this paperwork. Okay, and whatever paperwork you have done, you have to dry run the logic. Okay, and you have to prepare that one point I should have mentioned here. You have to prepare the test plan, right? So that test plan will be run first on your flowchart. Okay, when you are sure all the test cases are taken care of in this logic, then only start writing the code. Okay, and now see, your brain in the first part, brain was totally focusing on the logic. It had no responsibility of converting that logic into the syntax, right? So that activity will be done at the best level. Now once that logic is ready, you can what remains is just convert it to any language. The logic will remain the same. Language can be anything. It can be Java, C, C++, Python, whichever you are comfortable with. So now actually I always say you can switch on the music and you just have to transfer that logic to a syntax, right? So it will be a single that code will be written in the single flow, and then there will be no patchwork done in the code, because patchworking always reduces the strength of your code. Somewhere it will fail. We can't imagine also. And then test it once for all the test cases and submit it. So this is the proven path of cracking any coding round uh, for your placements. Not only AMCAT I mean automata and automata fix, but any coding round you can crack with this template. So now, considering this, now what I have planned is I will display one problem statement. Okay. So basically the problem statement is very easy. Print all the prime numbers which are below the given number separated by comma. So in this, what we want to know, first thing is what is prime number. Okay, so you need to know some basic concepts in maths also. Then which are below the given number separated by comma. So maybe we will be declaring one array. Okay, so that data structure we need to finalize on. Okay, so now if we want to go through this, understand the problem statement and prepare a list of important points to be considered. So what all important points I need to consider here is, first thing is I need to know the container for these numbers. So the simplest container I can think of is an array. Okay, and I need to know what is a prime number, right? So prime number is the number which is divisible by itself or 1, obviously, but it is not divisible by any other number, right? Now decide the flow of the solution. So basically what I need to know is, once I know what is prime number, then flow means what I'm going to do. First thing might be I will be accepting the numbers from the user, or I might be having some static numbers already given in the array. So that depends. So that would be my first thing, means my array should be filled. Somehow my array should be filled. Okay. In the next part, what I need to know is, from these things, I need to find out which is the primary number. So first it is for sure that I have to traverse the entire array, right? So my loop, the outer loop will be for all the arrays, that is the length of the array. So accordingly, I will start drawing the flow chart. Okay. And then uh, the first number in the array is say 12. Okay, so what I'm supposed to do is I need to divide that number to find the prime number. The simplest way, we can make it more optimized, but the simplest way is 2 to 11. Okay, I need to divide that number the numbers 2 to 11, and then if that number is divisible by any of these numbers, then it is not prime, else it is prime. So suppose we want to go ahead with this logic, then I will draw a quick flow chart for this. And then once I have drawn the flow chart, then for all the test cases, for number 1, for all the boundary conditions, that is the first element in the array, last element in the array, for all the general numbers, if the number is 0, what will happen? If the number is 1, what will happen? For all these cases, I will run through my code, and once I'm satisfied, yes, it is working fine, then I will write the code and test it. So suppose this is input 50. So now for all these numbers, okay, so the thing is are below the given number. So now here uh, it can be an array of 50 numbers, or now here from this problem statement, I'm accepting this 50 as the number. I'm not considering array here, right? So that is the mistake, right? So prime numbers below 50, below the number which user is accepting. So I will scan the number here. Okay, that is 50. So from 2 to 50, I will run my outer loop. And then here I'm just checking if it is divisible. So for divisibility, I have to use this modulo, and then this whole logic will work. If that is 0, then I just don't want to test it further, right? Because it will just increase the time of execution. So I quickly want to exit from this loop once that number is not prime. So I will, this break will take me out of this inner for loop, and this I will get incremented. So it will go to the next number. So this is how I will traverse further. And when CT is 0, means for all the numbers when it has traversed, means CT was not 1. So CT here is working as the flag. So if it becomes 1, then because this for loop will get will exit from this for loop uh, in two scenarios, either decent exit or exit because of this break. So that we want to identify here. And if city is 0, means it didn't go inside this if condition. So means that is a prime number, and we'll place a comma and write that number. And if city is 1, we will not print it, it will go to the next number. So this is the logic. See, the questions are of this level only. I have in the end, maybe if time permits, I will just pop up the list of different questions which are generally asked in this automata. Okay, so basically if you follow this template, I'm sure you will always reach to the final solution. Okay, so this was one example. And find the GCD of two numbers. This is again another example from automata only. So here again, uh, if you see, we are accepting two numbers, and we, so here GCD, first thing is you need to know what is GCD, right? So here what we have to do is, when we get to a number, okay, so till n, I mean m and n are the two numbers, okay, which of which we want to find out the GCD. And this I will be till m or n. So this is the double and. Now you should know the meaning of this double and single and. We'll not go into those details right now because we are not here to learn the syntax of the language, but we should know the meaning. So these language element knowledge will be tested in this automata or automata fix, because these are very, very basic programming language elements, and we should know the difference between them. What will happen if I put the single and here? What will happen if I put the double and here? And because they are all going to contribute to the time complexity, and we want to write the code as efficient as possible. And so that's why so with this, now this logic, I don't want to go into the details of this logic. This is the simplest solution here for finding out the GCD. of two numbers. So the problems will be like this for automata. The difficulty level of the problems will be easy, medium, difficult. Okay, so I will just show you the list of those problem statements from different difficulty levels. Okay, so these were the sample questions for automata. Now for automata fix, you know that we are supposed to find out, the syntactical error or logical error that might be present in the given code. So see the length of the code, it is very small code that is given. Now you need to improve your debugging skills here, because in the first go maybe you might not understand the problem. Now if you just read this program, you will say yes, it is fine, it should work properly. But when your reading should be very careful. In Marathi we say it should be the kavळ्याची नजर means crow's sight we say. So the very small things also we should be able to pick out from the code. So for that, to develop this skill, we need to read many different codes. Okay, code reading is a skill, remember. So you should not only practice writing your own code, but you should practice reading the codes written by others and trying to make out the meaning of that code and then cross check it. That will help you a lot in this automata fix. Okay, so here the problem is with this unsigned. Okay, so since this is unsigned, this will never come out. Okay, this will be an endless loop, and so that is the problem here. So it is an infinite loop, it is a logical error. So from 65535, again it will be it will become 0, and in the code it is greater than equal to 0. So always it will fulfill the condition and it will never come out of the loop. So that is the logical error. And here see, there is nothing hi-fi logic is written, only your knowledge on data types is tested. So you have to be, and data types is again the ignored area by the programmer. The programmer, the learner, beginners, they always think that अरे हाँ क्या int, float, char, these are different data types, वो तो मुझे पता है. C में char is treated as an int or int is as char, they can interchangeably used and all. So that is okay, that is sufficient. But no, you should know to the go the detail level of every topic, even if it is a database, a data type, it is an operator, it is a conditional statement. See, many a times I have seen people using if loop. If is not a loop, remember. If is a conditional statement. Loops are only three: while loop, for loop, and do while loop. Okay, if switch, they are conditional statements, they are not loop. Loop means it will get executed iteratively, and conditional statement means all the statements inside it will be executed only once. Okay, so never ever say if is a loop. Okay, so then next is this, again check whether the program prints the, we enter 3, so this pattern should be printed. So whether it will print this pattern or not, so that we want to test here. Okay, so now again the logical error is inner loop has to be written like this. So j I minus 1 less than n plus 1 and j plus plus. So there will be some small errors. Now here it is still n. Okay, so it should be I minus 1 to n plus 1. It cannot be I to 1 to n. So if you just walk through this code, you will understand that these initializers are not correct. Okay, so so for this you should be able to read the code. You should develop your skills in traversing the code. So maybe if you are going to spend 1 hour a day for this programming practice, I would always suggest spend 15 minutes for reading through the code and 45 minutes for writing the new code. Okay, so that is the percentage. 1 hour is nothing actually, but that should be the ratio of reading and writing the code. Okay, so that is one thing. Find the greatest of 3 numbers. So this is again one code. It is very simple error here. Okay, if you know the conditional statements, how if else if are written, you will be easily make out. So the easy questions will be of this level only, so don't get panic. Automata fix or automata tests are evaluated for very basic questions. Many times it happens, people they come across very hi-fi problem statements and अरे ये तो मुझे नहीं आ रहा, how will I be able to crack automata or this whole MCAT test and all. Don't think on those lines. It is very simple. Only thing is your basic programming knowledge will be tested, and you should be very clear in that. So that is very important. So here in the if, that bracket, outside bracket is not there, else if is not written this way, there should be a space in there. So these are very small syntactical errors in here. So we have discussed logical errors, how to make out logical errors, how to make syntactical errors. That's what we have discussed. Now this is one example of code reuse. Just there is a typo, there is a space actually. Okay, void binary to decimal. Okay, and then so this is a sample code that is given to you. If you remember, I had already said you don't have to write the main function. You have to that will be already given to you. You just have to write this function. Now type your code here. So you just have to complete this code, and this is the solution, binary to decimal. So you should know now here what is binary format, what is decimal format. So now here it is binary to decimal. Sometimes it can be hexadecimal to binary or hexadecimal to decimal. So all these conversions you should be familiar with. Okay, so this is how the your basic programming skills will be evaluated in automata and automata fix. Okay, so I think that's all for today from my side. Before we end up the session, I would, as promised, I would just try to populate this appendix, okay, in which I have listed down different questions for easy level, GCD of 2 numbers, check whether the integer is prime or not, number is Armstrong or not. So these are some questions. Maybe you can take a screenshot of this, or you can find basically them on the net as well, of easy level questions, then medium level questions. Okay, so now here in the first list, it was just to find the Armstrong number. Now here it is between 2 intervals. Now see, one thing here is important is the efficiency of the code and how fast you write this code. So if you practice them well, actually if you could practice only these many codes with the given template, I'm sure you will be able to crack these tests very easily. Okay, so they cover all the types of the questions that see, it's not that I came across that we will take in question and answer actually, but I came across one question key, if we have not solved that one that question before, if that appears in the test, we find the solution but there is not sufficient time to implement it, then what? right? But it won't happen only when you practice at least these many questions, and if you follow the template which I have provided to you. Okay, so if you try to uh, develop your approach, a systematic approach to the given problem statement, then you will never land up in that situation. That much promise actually I would like to give you all. So these are medium level questions, and these are advanced level questions. So frequency of characters in a given string. There are so many algorithms for this, but you have to find out the efficient one. How many, what will be the length of the string? How many characters will be there in the string? So depending on that, maybe you have to decide on the algorithm. Okay, so these are all different questions, and these are difficult questions. So these are recently asked questions in past 2 years in the test. So print the pattern if the input is 5. So this pattern we want to print. So little complex logic will be there, but pattern display will be 100%. There's many a times it has appeared in the exams. Okay, so so this is story type question which I was talking about before. So from this you have to take out the actual content is very small. Similar to this, there was one problem statement like one person wants to carry all the balls in a bag, and the condition is each bag should contain only one colored ball. Okay, so how many bags would be needed? So we are not interested in these peripheral things. The thing is, we want to have the container which will have unique numbers on them, on the balls. So the problem statement is one liner, and then we should focus only on the logic to implement that problem statement. Okay, so these are different questions actually. So now I'm done. That's all from my side. Now both of us are now ready to take up your questions, and it's not that you can ask the questions now, but these contact details are given here. You can send your questions to Mugdha anytime, and we'll revert back to you. So it's over to you now.
What I could see, Anjali, that you have meticulously searched for and just brought the questions. What are the probable questions according to the difficulty level that are asked? And what I understand from this presentation is that depending upon the company, means if it is a product industry like EQ Technologies, then it will be rather advanced difficulty level questions will be more. So as I understand, Anjali, it is depending upon if it is a service industry like Accenture or maybe Cognizant, then the questions will be of lower difficulty level. Is it so? Is it go that way?
Correct, correct. As you rightly said, this difficulty level which we discussed just now was specifically for AMCAT evaluation, automata or automata fix. But if we think of the product companies, niche companies like EQ Technology or Morgan Stanley or Nice Systems, something like that, then their difficulty level will be more. Their evaluation criteria will be more. Sometimes they give you case studies. Okay, you have to build on the database architecture also, and the whole code you have to build. Sometimes actually, when I can give you my own example, when I was working with SunGuard, and we had to recruit freshers. That time even I used to ask them to program, and I used to give them the case study. Now at this level, we were not interested in their actual output. Okay, how much time they do take to code, what was their approach, whether they are organized, which methods they follow, did they follow, did they do some paperwork, did they organize their code neatly. All these parameters will be tested, and that is the same case that is happening with all these product companies as well, because our many students are placed in those product companies, and we get a feedback from them that this knowledge is very important, and students should try to inculcate these habits from now itself. So as you rightly said, difficulty level for product companies will be much higher compared to what we have discussed right now.
Now I'll just request all the participants to please post your questions if you have any, so that we can take the questions before we conclude. Now one question was there which was earlier, which I guess it got answered. It was, what do you mean by debugging skills? That was the question. Can we take that?
Yeah, so debugging skills, as we have discussed already, means you have to point out or you have to find the area where exactly that problem is coming from. So if we are working in Java Eclipse, now the thing is we can do this debugging using breakpoints. So we need to acquire these different skills. So Eclipse provides debugging environment, and then we can put the breakpoints there. And once we send the request, or once we start execution of the code, instead of giving control to the JVM to execute the whole code in one go, we can put a breakpoint and we can stop execution at that point, and from there onwards we can take control in our hands, and we can actually traverse through the flow of our code, and we can easily find out ki, this shouldn't have been here, it should have gone to this function instead of this function, and then we can change the code and get rid of that particular issue. So these are different debugging skills which we need to acquire. For this, reading the code, that skill is very important. Knowing, I said actually that research attitude is not important for a debugger, but sometimes if debugger demonstrates that capability, it is very good for from the organization's point of view, because that code get resolved very quickly, that issue gets resolved very quickly. So you should be developing your code reading skills and problem solving skills very easily.
So we have Mete madam with us. Mete madam.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, there is a one question is, while explaining the code, you have used one terminology, descent break. Can you please explain that term, descent break?
Descent break. Okay. So here I have used this break statement. Okay. Now descent exit and exit due to break. That's what I said here. So see, if you observe carefully, this for loop will be traversed from j equal to 2 till it reaches the value I. If it reaches to value I without entering into the if condition, it will exit from the code decently. It will exit from this for loop naturally, I mean to say. But if it enters in the if condition, it is not going to complete this traversal completely. It is not going to complete this traversal, but it's going to exit somewhere in between of the traversal. That is the exit due to this break. So that's, we want to capture that, whether it has come out naturally or because of this break. That's what I was explaining, and for that we have used this flag.
Okay. One more question is there, ma'am. While explaining the good coding habits, there also you have used one terminology, dry run.
Yes. So dry run means we don't have actual code in front of us. So actual execution of the code by the editor, like Eclipse or by JVM, is not going to happen. We want to run our logic. We want to traverse the whole logic of flowchart for all the test conditions on the flowchart itself. That is called as dry run of the code. So the traversal of all the test conditions on the flow chart, that is called as dry run. And when we write the code, and JVM is, if we are writing it in Java, JVM will execute it. If it is C++, their compilers will execute the code. So that is actual execution of the code, actual running of the code.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. One more question is there. How important is dynamic programming?
Dynamic programming from MCAT point of view, I would say, is not very important. It actually is based on recursion. To go to start using dynamic programming, or to get expertise in dynamic programming, first you need to know the recursion very well. And then once you are familiar with those programs, you have to actually make your hands dirty in that. And then you have to go use memoization and tabulation concepts in dynamic programming. So then if you want to appear for some coding rounds of niche companies, maybe that play an important role, but not for this exam.
Okay. Just one question, ma'am. Which program? Okay. Just one question is there.
Okay.
What would be the approach while mastering Java OOPS? Is OOPS and the file handling important for the MCAT preparation?
File handling as a specific topic, we can't comment on that, because we can't. File handling is not very difficult in Java also. But what I would suggest is to get familiarity in Java. First thing is, we should in the first initial 2-3 days, we can just try executing the programs which we have already done in C or C++ only. But the difference will be, we'll be doing them only in the Java environment. Once we are done with that, we should start reading the API of Java. Okay, so that Java API is very, very important, because even if you join any course in the world, it's not going to cover all the classes, all the functions given in that API. What I always tell to the students, that I'm going to teach you the method of exploring the API. Once you are able to explore the API, you should be able to find out your requirement. You should understand your requirement, and where you will get the solution for this requirement in this API. That capability you should develop, okay, to search for that particular solution in the API. So if you want to get mastery in Java, there are, I would suggest two things are there. You should understand the basic language fundamentals of Java, no doubt, multi-threading, inheritance, these OOPS concepts basically. Then generics, that is introduced in Java 5, which actually revamped the whole collection framework. So you should be knowing collection framework and generics very well in Java. File handling is not very difficult. Even if you write 1 or 2 programs, that is sufficient for this MCAT. I haven't seen yet the questions on file handling, but we can't guarantee. That we all know that there cannot be any guarantee. This year maybe they will put the question on file handling, so we should not keep any loophole in our preparation. That I am of that opinion. Okay, and it is not very difficult also. I'm not saying you should do Java FX, okay, or lambda expressions. I would suggest you should do, because if any problem statement, if you use lambda expressions, then it will create a good impression. Your evaluation score will be high. Okay, so once you are done with these language fundamentals, you should dedicate, I would suggest, at least 30 to 45 minutes a day to explore the API. The more you go through the API, more you will come across different functions and different functionalities which are provided by Java. Okay, and that after doing this, I would suggest, not suggest, actually it is mandatory for every programmer to work in Java environment, to do an internship in Java. Okay, without that, your theoretical knowledge is not going to help you a lot. So for cracking this automata or automata fix, your programming knowledge and exploration of this API is definitely going to be useful a lot. But when you want to actually work in the industry, if you want to actually, because this is not going to be sufficient, isn't it? This is the necessary condition, but in the company placement process, you again might have to appear for the coding round as well. Okay, there you need to, if you have worked already on the Java project, then it will give you a tremendous boost, okay, and confidence while coding.
Thank you, ma'am. There's one more question from the Sunil. How to improve the approach towards the given problem statement? Even I know the basics and I don't know where to start.
So basically, this is a common problem. So what I suggest, that is, from childhood, our parents actually tell us, even if you don't understand anything, try to write something on the paper. Okay, when you start writing, you will start getting more clarity about that problem statement, because now in this problem statement, the important words are prime numbers and given number. Okay, now if you remember, during explanation I explained it using an array, right? I was waiting for somebody to point out, ma'am, it is not an array, it is below the given number. Okay, so this is the important point here. So we should develop the habit of reading the problem statements as well. Okay, so answer generally is there in the problem statement only, but more the practice is the only solution for that, I would say. So more problem statements you go through, you will understand the requirement from you of that problem statement.
Okay, ma'am, means what are my observations? Maybe I'm wrong. Generally, what are the questions are there for this automata? They are based on the strings or some pattern generation. Just
Right.
what are the examples you took right now, finding LCM, HCF like that. So don't we have the questions on the structures, or someone has asked earlier also, the file handling. So they are not focusing on these concepts?
I don't think so. Even my observation is same as yours. So I haven't seen directly, structures are not there, but you have to make right choice of data structure. So if it is a linked list, suppose I want to use a linked list, then definitely I will have to use a structure in my code, isn't it? So indirect usage will be there, but specifically about file handling, I haven't seen any problem in file handling, because maybe the reason is nowadays the data is stored, it's a big data, so maybe data we are storing on cloud, or if it is at the local storage, then we might be using different databases, or some relational databases, or databases like MongoDB and all, NoSQL or SQL databases basically. And for that, JDBC is very important. So sometimes they might ask you on JDBC, but I haven't seen many problem statements even in company's evaluation process. I haven't seen the file handling problem statements, but we can't say. Sometimes, you are expected to store some data in the file format on the hard disk, because that will be faster, isn't it? So sometimes that requirement might be there also, but it is not very, that's what I want to say. It's not very difficult also to handle files in any programming language. The concept is same throughout all the languages, only the syntax is different. So if we just see it once, the syntax in Java, it is file input stream and all. So if we just write 1 or 2 codes, I think it should be sufficient.
Can you, ma'am, elaborate on the corner test cases? What is mean by corner test cases?
Corner test cases means the test cases where that particular data might come in yes condition or no condition, something like that, or some in between, or some suppose I want to find out the percentage of students having 80% of marks. So am I considering 80% in this side or on the other side? So these are all boundary cases, we can say. Corner cases are just the boundary cases which we need to consider. So suppose I'm working on some transaction trading and some trades are coming to my system, and then I can cater only for 50 trades in 1 minute. Then am I considering the 50th or I'm not considering? So these are the corner cases or boundary cases will vary depending on the problem statement.
One more thing, the question is very common now whenever we are saying automata or questions based on the automata or automata fix. So we have the options C, C++ or Java. So which language will you prefer, ma'am? What is your suggestion?
Yeah, so if API is given, if you are allowed to use API, you can go for Java. But speed wise, C and C++ are generally recommended languages for automata and automata fix. But if you have worked, sometimes see what happens, people work more in Java. Now I have many students who are excellent in Java because they are doing internships with me. But what happens is by that time their knowledge of C++ or C gets fed up. Gets fed up. So what happens is that time you should not opt for C or C++. But if you are comfortable with C++ or C, then they are the recommended languages.
Okay, thank you. As you said, ma'am, intern. Yes, I think we had an interaction earlier also. One of the student, Ronak Agarwal, doing the internship in your company. And I took his internship review. So I guess you were there.
Yes, Ayush Agarwal.
Yes, Ayush Agarwal. Yes.
Agarwal. Yes. So
Okay,
many students from VIT also are doing internships. They have done many courses at WinPoint also. So,
yes.
so my focus there same. That's why it becomes very easy for them also to crack automata or any coding round from EQ Technology. Many our students are placed in these product companies because focus of conducting the course is basically it is application oriented. Theory will be taught in the classrooms, but I always force or make it mandatory to the students, even if they learn C, they should work on the project. Unless they work on the project, that knowledge will not help them a lot.
Okay. Ma'am, we'll take one last question. The student is asking, I'm a 2019 pass out of VIT. What should be my approach to get a job after 1.5 years of gap?
Okay, I think Makran is the right person to take this question. So I hand over this to Makran.
So ma'am, can I know the specialty of the student? So I understand he or she passed out in 2019.
Yes, he's from ENTC.
Right. So my simple answer for this would be for him to do proper goal setting. So there has to be a complete clarity as far as his aspirations are concerned. And if he's targeting a career in IT industry, he needs to identify the specific job profiles or roles that he wants to target. For example, if he's looking to target roles like software engineer or software developer for IT services company, then he should go through some job descriptions which are available from these companies like Capgemini, IBM, Accenture, TCS, Cognizant, etc. And these are the main companies who are in the list of clients for aspiring minds, right? So they have outsourced their written evaluation to aspiring minds through MCAT. But if he is looking to make a career, looking to start a career with a product company like EQ Technology or NVIDIA, right? Obviously, I mean, there would be some constraints now that he is, he passed out 1.5 years back. So he needs to find out his constraints and then set his goals, which should be done based on SMART principles. So SMART goal setting is all about specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. And there has to be complete clarity. And once the goals are set, the achievable goals are set, which can be achieved within the given time frame, then there has to be a proper action plan. So a lot of research is actually required to be done. It's not possible to give the complete solution in such short period of time. But a lot of research is required, networking is required. He needs to understand the profiles of different companies. He needs to go through the job descriptions. He needs to take into account his own strengths and weaknesses, and also identify the sources for getting the opportunities. Right, so he might be getting some support from the college placement, but he needs to explore other platforms from where he can get to know about these opportunities. So one of them could be MCAT, for an example. Another could be companies like WinPoint. The third could be crowdsourcing. Fourth could be social media platforms like LinkedIn. And developing right contacts would help him a lot. Hope I have answered the question.
Sir, if we see right now, many students are applying for the full stack web developer position. So how much this MCAT will be useful to them?
Full stack web developer is a completely different ball game. So that needs development of end-to-end skills, front-end, back-end, and also middleware. So MCAT might not be of much help. So as far as I understand, about 500 to 700 corporate clients who are actually who have registered with aspiring minds for MCAT. Most of them are IT services companies, right? And full stack developer roles could be available with these companies also, but MCAT might not help much for testing skills across the complete spectrum of full stack development, because there is a lot of focus on front end, SQL, and there could be some automata options that he might want to explore. For example, automata front end. I think they do. They also do automata SQL. So maybe they could be of help to him. But a thorough knowledge of web technologies such as JavaScript, HTML5, CSS3, then different frameworks of JavaScript. So React.js, Node.js, Angular, knowledge and skills, not just knowledge, but also the practical skills in all these areas is very, very important as far as front-end development, which is a part of full stack development, is concerned.
Okay, and what are the positions to be targeted via this MCAT?
Probably the best way to go about it is go through the roles which are actually advertised on through MCAT or on the site of Aspiring Minds. I believe they're advertising a lot of positions which are available with the companies who have registered with them, and based on those requirements, then the skill sets can be identified. Because as I said, even though we are talking about the same industry, IT industry sector, there are different roles, and different roles would have different demands. So I think it is important to take a role specific approach or a job profile specific approach, and then get to the level of understanding which modules or which competencies are important for that particular. Go through chapter 5 of any standard MCAT feedback report. In chapter 5, they have clearly identified the modules which would be of importance for a particular job profile.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Does that answer the question, or there would be any follow-up question?
No, it's fine. You have answered the question. Okay. So on behalf of Vishwakarma Institute of Technology, I would like to thank you, sir and madam, for conducting the session on a good practices for cracking the automata and automata fix modules of AMCAT. Thank you, ma'am and sir. The session was really very interesting, and you have made that one interactive one also. Thank you very much.